السلام عليكم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا قيما لينذر بأسا شديدا من لدنه ويبشر المؤمنين الذين يعملون الصالحات أن لهم أجرا حسنا ماكثين فيه أبدا. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وعلى من تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين واجمعنا معهم في عليين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. After seeking refuge by Allah from shaitan the accursed, in the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most gracious, all praise and gratitude are to Allah, who have revealed to His servant a book wherein there is no crookedness. He has sent this book to warn of stern and severe power and might of Allah, and to give the glad tidings and glad news to the believers who do good works and do good deeds, that they shall have a blessed and good reward where they shall remain in it, inshallah, eternally. May Allah make us among those. O Allah, send your peace and your prayers upon our beloved, our Prophet, our example Muhammad, his family, and upon his companions, and upon those who follow the guidance until the day of judgment. May Allah gather us with them in the highest stations of Jannah, inshallah, with His mercy. So brothers and sisters, again, my name is Mohamed. I'm here on behalf of ICNA Relief, which for those who don't know, is an Islamic relief. It's a domestic Islamic relief organization. So it's run entirely by the Muslim community through your contributions, and we take your sadaqah and your zakah and your other contributions and we disperse it here in the United States. And our motto for this is that charity begins at home. Right? So the place that we live in, we have to ensure that we are beneficial to that area, and that we take care of the needs in our immediate locale. One of the issues that we are suffering nowadays globally is the issue of refugees. I mean, all of you are aware that we have wars and natural disasters and so many things that displaces people and takes them out of their norm, out of their comfort zone, and gets them to be homeless, so to speak. And the numbers are staggering and they're huge. And most people are not aware really of the scope of the issue. So just to kind of give some numbers, just to show the kind of problem that we are dealing with. In 2014, and now of course the numbers are getting bigger and keep going steadily. In 2014, according to some studies, 42,500 people became refugees every single day. Every single day. Imagine over 42,000 people every day lose their home and lose it permanently. Well, they're not able to go back to it, right? So that's one in every 122 people. Out of every 122 people in the world, one person is a refugee or displaced in their own country. So if you actually consider refugees to be citizens of one country, they will be the 24th biggest country in the world by population. The 24th biggest country by population will be the refugees. And like I said, that keeps growing and growing and growing. The issue that's kind of the most recent for us and keep getting bigger and bigger are our brothers in Syria and our brothers and sisters in Syria. Subhanallah, the numbers also are striking and big. The war have started about almost 5 years ago now, and so far we've had Almost 8 million people are displaced within Syria. 8 million people have lost their homes. They are unable to go back to it. They live in refugee camps around the country because of this war. Over 400,000 have been killed in this one war alone. And 4.2 million Syrians have left Syria entirely to seek refuge in somewhere else. You have hundreds and thousands, or a little over 500,000 in Jordan. You have somewhere near that also in Turkey. You have almost 250,000 in Sudan. And so on and so on. They have just been fleeing for their life, and they've been just dispersed all over the place. And we have other countries that are suffering similar fate. So we have, along with the Syrians coming here to the United States and to California, we have Iraqis. We have from Iraq, we have Afghanis from Afghanistan, we have Burmese, we have just people from all over the world are being displaced by either a man-made calamity or a natural disaster. So Obama actually signed last year that the United States would accept 10,000 Syrian refugees here in the United States by the fiscal year 2016. And actually more than that have been admitted here in the United States. So we've had actually over 12,000 that came in the United States so far, this year alone, from Syria. The entire number, or the whole number for the United States from all refugees from all around the world, we had over 85,000 that came in 2016 fiscal year alone. And now the numbers, as I said, are growing around the world. So the US are actually picking up as well. So now we're expected to include 110,000 refugees in the fiscal year of 2017. There's no specific number of how many of those will be Syrians, but you can imagine that the number will be big. California is actually doing most of the work in the US out of most states. Most states have not accepted not one single Syrian refugees for reasons all too known to us. All the rhetoric that we hear now throughout the elections of fear-mongering and saying that we don't want to accept any Muslims in here, that have been already trickling into our politics. It's not something that we have to wait to see. Many states have been saying that we will not accept anyone from Syria because we fear that they will be terrorists, right? Whereas there's no actual evidence to suggest that at all. No refugees have committed any such act so far. Some small little criminal activities here and there, but it's been proven all around the world that actually refugees commit less crime than anywhere that they have been to. It's been proven. So the fear has been, answered and displaced. But bigotry moves on, right? So like I said, California have been doing most of that. The United States have admitted over 12,000 into the US as refugees. California have actually admitted over 6,000 out of those refugees. So the economy here might be, flourishing a little bit. You probably expect me to say suffer, right? Actually, that's another thing that's a myth. Many people think that when you bring refugees in the area that the economy will suffer. But if you look at anywhere in the world where people have countries or counties have accepted refugees, actually it created more jobs. It brought more money into the local economy, and it actually improved the living situation of the local people who have accepted refugees to come in. Lifestyles have actually improved, which might sound kind of, the opposite of what we expect, but that is the reality. Another thing that we want to displace, I have some flyers outside if you are also interested in this, and I have this annual report that we have done for our work for ICNA Relief from last year, 2015. So you'll have some numbers and information of some of the services we've given, and there is a page 12 and 13 are talking about refugees in the world. So page 12 actually talk about the screening process that refugees have to go through to come into the US. So it's something that, for example, Trump have been suggesting that I'm going to make it do some extreme vetting and so on, that I'm going to make it almost nearly impossible for them to get in. It's not easy as it is. already. Most people think that, oh, they just accept people and we don't know who's coming in. That is not true. They go through a very strenuous process to be accepted. Many of them it takes months and years for them to be accepted in most countries that they go to, including the United States. For example, one family that came into our office here in Anaheim, a gentleman with his wife and 5 children, came leaving Syria, and he was displaced outside of Syria for 3 years. He have lost his job. He was an engineer. He have lost his property that he owned. He owned actually an apartment complex where he used to live in, and he used to rent the rest of it. All of that have been taken away by force. And he had to leave Syria and actually seek refuge in Jordan, where he was a refugee there for some time. For the entire 3 years, he was not allowed to work. He was not able to fend for his family. And then later on, the United Nations gave him the opportunity to come here into the US with his family. So you have lost everything. And it took that long for him to be even considered. And after that, it took a long time for him to even be brought here into the US. And when he's brought here, just like all other Syrians and all other refugees, they get very small little help. So he's given what they call welcome money, which is about a little over $1,100 to survive on. Now, we know how expensive living here in California is. And after that, they will give help from the government, which is usually $100 to $200 per person for 8 months maximum. And that is it. You're left to fend on your own, find your own way, and find a job. But oh wait, you're not allowed to work yet. You have to wait until paperwork are cleared, and then you have to apply and wait for that to be cleared. All meanwhile, you have to, fend for your family. How? We don't care. So that's when organizations come in. There are 7 resettlement organizations here in the US. Only 7 are allowed to actually bring in refugees and place them somewhere in the US. And like I've been saying, most of their work so far, especially with the Syrian refugees, have been done here in California. So some counties have done more work than others, and some plan to work more than others. So for example, in Riverside, so far you have only about 36 refugees that have been brought here to Riverside County. And that number is going to grow, inshallah, coming into next year. The biggest in California that brought in refugees are San Diego. They've brought in over 2,300, and LA County have brought in over 2,000. And all over California, altogether, will be over 6,000 refugees that are brought in this year alone. So now, these families, like I said, are brought in. The great majority of them don't speak English at all. At all. A lot of them are professionals, a lot of them used to own businesses and so on, but like I said, they have completely lost everything, and they are brought over here, and they are actually broken down so far that they are actually willing to beg to get some of the help. Because the help that they get from the US government is given not to them directly, is given to organizations, those 7 organizations that resell them here. But those organizations take some of that money for their own administrative work, and then they will give the rest for their family and put them in a hotel, sometimes a motel, and that's it. Sometimes they help them further by waiting until they get an apartment, and they give them an apartment, but they have to pay for that rent starting the 2nd or 3rd month. But sometimes they are left behind in that motel or hotel alone, and that is it. As an example, last Eid, on the day of Arafah, I went on behalf of ICNA Relief doing a toy drive for the kids over there, just so we can take some of the hardship off of them, right? Just to kind of bring them just a little happiness, so they can forget the hardship that they've been living in, to bring them some Eid joy. So we worked with some locals, organization, and some local individuals, and we even had some people that come from churches, and they donated some of these toys, and they came with us and actually gave it out in the park. So we have found, for example, in El Cajon, one city in San Diego, where they have close to 500 refugees in that one city alone. Another city nearby, they have about 100 families or so. A lot of those have been here only for a few months. 2 families in particular that day affected me. It was, like I said, in a park. They called each other. People who have been helping them out, finding them in masajid or just on the street, seeing them speaking Arabic, have asked them to come and join. One of those families had 5 members. Another family had 7 members. Both of them were left in a motel room. So it's like a studio pretty much. There's no kitchen or nothing. It's just a room with 2 or 3 beds and a bathroom, and that is it. One family been there for a week. One family been there for 9 days. They've been given their help the first day and completely left behind. I've met them on the day of Arafah trying to give those toys. And subhanAllah, they still had izzah. They had some pride where they did not want to ask people there immediately, can you help us? But that day I found out through someone else that both of those families were fasting on the day of Arafah, not just because it was a sunnah, but because they were completely out of funds and completely out of food. Here in the US with us. And the organization that brought them in completely left them behind. They did not contact them back. They were just asking us, can you please just contact them, because they said they were going to help us out. Can you just get them to call us or contact us somehow, some way? A few months before that, we also were there giving some backpacks for the kids so they can actually, go to school without the family having to use some of that money to actually purchase backpacks and school supplies and so on, to ease some of the hardship, some of that burden as well. And again, so many. We've met over 350 people over there in that one location alone. Some of the families have had some medical issues. They have not been seen by any doctor. They don't have Medicare yet. They don't have, of course, insurance at all. They cannot afford that. Some of them only had like $10 or $20 left. Some of them needed some urgent medical attention. And those organizations that brought them in are slacking behind so much. We had an organization that worked with us that one day. It's an advocacy group called PANA, and they actually been getting their information so they can follow up and actually get their rights back. So what we try to do on our part, alhamdulillah, ICNA Relief, we wanted to give them some of the help that they need until they're able to get on their 2 feet. So we have already food pantries, so we are allowed to or able to bring them some help. So actually Syrian families come to us, and as well as other refugees, they come to our office, our food pantry in Anaheim, and we're trying to place other ones around, inshallah, in different counties. So hopefully we'll have something here soon, where they come to us once a month and they get that food, so they don't have to spend all their money on just food, right? Sometimes we have people, alhamdulillah, that donate some clothing, so we actually bring them some clothes, especially now winter coming up. Down there in San Diego is actually colder than it is over here. Some families have been, for example, moved to an apartment, but they have absolutely no furniture. One family that I met that day when we gave in the backpacks, they had 5 members but only 2 beds and only 1 blanket. They had like 3 plates, 1 spoon and 1 pot. And that was it. That's all they had. Another family, a family of 5, they had like 3 beds and 1 couch and a few other items, but most of those were actually soiled. None of us will actually ever accept those things, but they had no other choice. People donated these things to them, and they have stains and things that they don't even know what the stains are from. Some of them look like blood, some of them look like other fluids, they don't know what it is. Some of them, actually another family I was just told about last week, where the furniture was so infested with bed bugs that they had to get rid of it. They got it in, but after a couple of days they just got so sick of it they had to get rid of it. It was too much. And they're now sleeping on the floor. Nothing at all. Now these families again, they don't know where to turn to. They don't speak English. So even the ones that just got their job, the work permit, they can't find no jobs because they don't speak English yet, and they don't want to waste time into going to learn English because they have to pay for it most probably. Even if they find it for free, it is going to take time away from a time that they look that they can find some job and work and actually bring in some income to their family. Meanwhile, they have to depend on giveaways, and it's really difficult. But we have to do what we have to do. So alhamdulillah, some organizations, just like with us in ICNA Relief, we provide some medical attention. So we actually have a free clinic, for example, but we are limited because we only have one location here in Southern California. We have a mobile clinic that we try to use and take around with the limited amount of resources we have, because we're also limited depending on the doctors who will come and actually volunteer with us and give the services, and the nurses as well. We're also about to start giving some dental and vision, because even the ones that get medical attention or get like medical and so on, a lot of times they don't give full coverage, so their dental needs and all of that are not met. And the most important of all is that they have suffered so much in their countries, Syrians and others, and suffering, going through all this hardship with their families, sometimes not knowing when they're going to eat next time, where they're going to sleep next time. All that stress have been building up, all that anxiety, come into a completely different world. You don't speak the language, you don't know the culture, you don't know the laws, you don't even know where to go and ask, you don't know where to go shop, you have nowhere to go and communicate or transport or nothing. So you can imagine just the mental situation, right? You can imagine their anguish. So alhamdulillah, one of the services that we provide is counseling, right? So we have about 6 or 7 counselors. 2 of them are Muslim, alhamdulillah. Some of them are volunteering, some of them are trying to get their licenses and so on. But they are able to help some of these families deal with this change. It is very difficult, as I said. And actually we mandate that anybody who comes to our food pantry and wants to benefit and get it monthly, that they have to be seen by one of our counselors at least once a month. Some of them, of course, they look at it because we have the stigma, especially with Arabs, we have the stigma that, I don't want to go to a mental health professional because that means something is wrong with me. I'm not crazy. And they reject it. Right? And they don't understand that this is a service that they need. It doesn't mean that they're crazy. It just means that they are struggling and they need somebody to give them a little guidance on how to deal with this stress, how to deal with being in a new society, how to deal with this change. It's a culture shock. All right? And we need somebody to help us steer around and figure out how I'm going to deal with this difficulty. Right? And of course it helps even further when somebody who understands where you come from religiously and trying to give you guidance through the Quran and the Hadith on how to deal with this. Some of the families have actually complained to us once they found us, and they are actually referred to us by some people. They came to us and they, for example, 2 families in particular that talked to me, and they said that so far when we were brought in, we didn't know where the Muslims were. We didn't know if we're going to find some Muslims. We didn't know where to go to the mosque. And the organization that came and started taking care of us are a Christian organization from a church. And those churches, of course, are resourceful and big. So that church has actually been pushing them to come to their services. And they kind of insinuated that, hey, in order for you to get help from us, you need to come to our services. So they kind of feel that they've been forced and coerced into coming to these church services in order for them to get some food and some help. And they said we had no other choice, so we started going. And they brought in some Arab church members to kind of influence us, to talk to us about Christianity and tell us that, hey, Muslims have kind of left you behind. They're not going to help you. Why don't you just convert? This is happening right here. The families I'm talking about, they actually live in Orange County right now. And they had to go through all this for the last 3 months in Orange County. Right? Until they finally were able to find some Muslims by chance outside, and they were told that no, you have many mosques around. But now, of course, I want you to remember again, most masajid are not really equipped to deal with this. As a Muslim community, we're not there. Even to be honest with you, even as an organization, we're not really 100% there yet, because the community does not give that kind of support. Churches, anybody can go to any church and get some kind of help, and they're well known for that. Masajid, subhanallah, we fall far behind. Not every masjid, but the great majority, right? And even the ones that do some kind of services is very, very, very limited. And that is a huge mistake on our part. We claim to have the answer for all society ills. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have revealed to us, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam have put it in example where we are able to see any issue and have some kind of solution for it in our religion and our deen. When we come to refugees, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mentioned them specifically in the Quran when He talked about the 8 categories of people that deserve or need or actually they have the right to our zakah and our sadaqah. And He mentioned Ibn Sabil, the wayfarer, the person who is cut off from his family, from his land. Those actually have the right to our zakah and to our sadaqah, right? We owe them that. And any other kind of help that we're able to give them, we owe them that, right? We should not wait for them to come beg us and wait for them to come and ask for us or for this help. We should be the ones who are looking around, who needs it so I can give it to you. But subhanAllah, in the Muslim community, we don't work that way. We don't function that way. And again, I'm kind of generalizing, but that's kind of for the great majority, that's what it is. Alhamdulillah, we have some individuals, we have some masajid here and there that will actually do their part and try to excel and exceed. Alhamdulillah. But for the great majority of us, we're not there yet. And we need to catch up, inshallah. So, brothers and sisters, of course, we need to give some kind of financial support to these families. We need to give financial support to the organizations that actually are giving them that kind of help. Alhamdulillah, we have a few Muslim organizations that are working with the refugees here, including us. We have a few advocacy groups, also Muslim groups that have started recently, alhamdulillah. And Muslim organizations keep being started, alhamdulillah, frequently nowadays, to help out these refugees and the Muslim community that are here in general, not just the refugees. So we need to give it support, not just financially. Again, financial support is very, very important. It's vital. But more than that, we need moral support as well. We need brothers and sisters who have some kind of skill, some knowledge to actually step up, give some of that time, help out somebody who's in need, comfort them, even if it's just by words. Even if it's just by words, that goes such a long way, right? To comfort somebody who's coming in, to show them, for example, some of these refugees, we need people, for example, just to show them this is what you do to get a driver's license. This is what you do, to get the job. This is what you do, file up a resume. I can help you a little bit with your English. I can help you with legal issues a little bit. I know a little bit of that. I work with a law firm or so on, or I know somebody who does. All these things help out a lot. It will lift up their morale. It will give them a chance to actually be able to fight for their families, to actually get out of depression, to be able to actually function in society normally. So that way, at least the blame is not thrown at us that, hey, these are your people, they came in, you didn't help them out, now they are committing crimes, now they are suffering from mental illness and so on. They can't even function properly in society. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask us about that. So this is again, inshallah, a reminder. If you have any kind of question, inshallah, about this issue and others, I have this information outside, and actually answer some questions, inshallah, if you have any. So if you have any questions at the time, inshallah, I'll accept it all.
How we can find out where these families are living?
How do you find out where the families are living? Very good question. It's actually a little bit difficult. These families are brought in, and a lot of times we don't know that they are coming in until after they arrive. Some Muslim organizations we are trying to work with the resettlement agencies, so we actually receive them directly. Although, to be honest, we don't have the resources to deal with them directly. We can't house them. No Muslim organization have that resource so far. So we have to rely on non-Muslim, Muslim or interfaith organizations to come and place them somewhere. Once we find out that they place them somewhere and they house them, then we go in and talk to them, get some information, and trying to see what they need immediately so we can provide that help. So the only way really is either you meet them by chance, or you come to one of the Muslim organizations and say, I need to know where are those families at and what do they need. So for example, right now, we are dealing with some of the refugee families in San Diego, specifically Syrian refugees. And like I said, there are hundreds of families over there. And the winter is coming up. Most of them don't have anything to meet winter. So we're actually collecting blankets, hoodies, socks, shoes. We also collected some diapers and stuff like that to give to those families. So inshallah, we plan to collect as much as we can from that and take it over there and give it to them, inshallah. So you have a few here in the local area, but the majority of them are going to be either in San Diego, the great majority. You have some in LA and some in Orange County. So yes.
How you can't respond to family or couple person or couple refugee?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question one more time?
I said, if I want to respond?
Sponsor.
How you sponsor? Beautiful question. How do you sponsor a family? Again, through Muslim organizations, we have, like with ICNA Relief, you can come to us and say, you know what, I want to sponsor one family's need or two families' needs or whatever. Or you can say, you know what, like some business owners, what they do, they say, I sell clothes. For example, I sell socks and so on. I have these socks that I can give it to you. So we have one business owner that just donated a few boxes of winter socks for us. So you can actually sponsor per family, or you can say, this need I can provide. I can give you so many where you can, you're able to give that. And of course, this tax write-off will be for you, inshallah. Did that answer your question?
No, I think you want to keep them at his home.
Yeah.
Oh, house them. So you're talking about sponsoring them in housing. That would be great. Yes, absolutely. Jazakallah khair for that question. That's very interesting. Yes, a lot of them are big families, right? And some of them, the great majority of the people that they brought in from Syria are women and children. They have some men, but the great majority are women and children. So some of them actually are women with only children, and some of them want to live with families if they're able to. So if you or you know of someone who's actually willing to accept some, you can say, you know what, I have a house, I can house somebody, I have one room I can share or so on, or whatever the case might be, and let us know, and we will let those, because they complain to us. They say, hey, I'm in a motel, can you find somewhere for me to stay and so on. So like I said, we don't have the resources, so we ask around. So if you know of someone who is able to house some people, let us know. You have to? Barakallah fi, jazakumullah khair. So inshallah, I'll talk to you right after this, inshallah, and get some of your information, inshallah. So that's actually a great need as well, that there's actually one Syrian lady that came to our office also about a week ago. She is living with a non-Muslim family in a room, and she just doesn't feel comfortable. And she's actually over 60 years old by herself. And she actually asked if she can move into her own studio if she's able to, or move in with another Muslim sister if she's able to as well. So yeah, we have some that will ask for that. Jazakumullah khair. Yes, barakallah fiqh. Yes. And thank you for the clarification. Yes.
Can we get some advice of them, so we can give in touch direct with them for support them by any different way?
Can you contact them directly?
Sorry?
You asked if you can contact them directly. Is that your question? Yeah, I mean, if they're okay with it, we don't mind passing that information along, of course.
Can we get some addresses of this?
Addresses?
No, I can work with you guys, much better.
Yes, given their addresses might be difficult because, like I said, most of them are placed.
Give you my name and my phone number, I work with you guys.
Yes, inshallah, I'll give you information. But as far as going to them, it's kind of difficult because they are placed sometimes just temporarily in a hotel or motel, and then they're moved again. They don't know where they're going to move to or when or anything like that. They just told, when we find you a place, we'll come to you. Right? So some of them stay for weeks, some of them stay for months on, stuff like that. But the ones that have addresses, some of them, for example, live in a big project complex. So that we can provide, inshallah, the address. We can say, for example, we have this giveaway chance that we want to do. Let's go over there. So we'll announce it, inshallah, if that's what you're asking for. And we can actually go, we can have people come with us and support us and go directly with us over there and meet with the families directly. You're able to do that. You're welcome to do that anytime.
No, maybe just if I put the question in a different way, that if people are willing to provide some kind of services, as you said,
Okay.
Helping in English as a second language, or maybe just talk to them, or helping them with resume or finding a job.
Okay.
How we can get in
Involved.
contact with them.
Okay, that's okay. Thank you for that. So for those who want to offer support directly, we are dealing with them so far. So we know little by little we're starting to get to know what are their actual issues and how we can help them out. So we can actually make a list, inshallah. I can start doing that by having maybe some addresses versus how many people are willing to help out and meet them up. If you are willing to go somewhere far, or if you want to go somewhere in your local area, and we can get you in contact with each other, inshallah. Because sometimes, some people will be more comfortable with somebody who, speak their language, or somebody who understand their culture and so on. So that would be a great help, inshallah, if that's able to be provided. I can make a list, for example, of people who are willing to actually meet those families. And once I meet them, I'll ask them like, hey, I have such and such individuals that want to actually meet you, help you out and all that. Would you like for that to be done? And if they say yes, then we'll contact you with them. Yes.
So who decides where these families are going to be placed?
Who decide where they will be placed? The resettlement agencies. So those 7 agencies in the United States, there's only 7, nobody else is allowed to do the service. They bring them in and they decide where to take them. But that also depends on the politicians in the area. So some states, for example, they said, no, we're not accepting none. California opened the door. So that's why they bring them over here. They take them to Michigan and other areas where they are welcomed in. Other areas that they're not welcomed in. So once they bring them to California, for some, I don't know exactly the reason, but they've chosen San Diego to receive the majority of people coming in. Although it's not really a good living situation at all for them, but that's what they have chosen. I don't know if it's to kind of save up some resources or something, but that's what they have chosen to do. But they place them in those 7 organizations, and once they get that, then that's when we are able to contact them. I'm sorry, say it one more time.
Can they move out of San Diego?
Can they move out of San Diego? Was that the same question over there? Can they move out? No, okay, different. Can they move out of San Diego? Some of them try to move out, but how can they really? Unless if somebody offer them housing. It's not like they're bound to staying in San Diego, they can't move out. They're able to, but only if they can afford it. And at that moment, they can't afford anything. They came with nothing. So whatever the settlement agency placed them, they're stuck there until they're able to find something. Yeah. So some other agencies have put them, like for example, in Orange County or here in Riverside. So they find them places here and there sometimes. So yes.
Do you know of any families who live here in Riverside County?
Do I know of any families where?
Families who are here in Riverside County.
In Riverside County, I know that there are some, because like I said, there are about 36 of them. I don't have personal contact with them, but I believe Sahaba Initiative, who's local here, they have contact with a few of them that they come to them for counseling and stuff like that. So there are some here. I can try to get you, inshallah, the contact information if you would like to. Addresses, inshallah. There was one more question over there also about San Diego.
San Diego has more agencies.
No, the agencies are national. The resettlement agencies, they work all over the U.S.
And also a lot of refugees come to San Diego.
Yes, yeah. For some reason, I guess it's a port, region and all of that, and it's growing.
The agency, is it personal or churches?
Some of them are churches, based on churches. They're all non-profit organizations. Some of them, for example, you have Lutheran Immigrant Services, right? You also have IRC, which is, I believe is Interfaith Resettlement Committee or something like that. You have Jewish Family Services. So some of them are Jewish. Some of them are based on a church, like the Lutheran Services. That's done by the Lutheran Church, and that they offer a lot of services. They're very huge. So yes, they mostly faith based, except for I think maybe 1 or 2 that's not.
Do you know if there is any Muslim involved in that?
Resettlement agencies, even if we wanted to, even if we get it together, we're not allowed to. By law, those 7 are capped. That's it. So we cannot create a resettlement agency. So we are not able to bring them, but we can have services where we are allowed to house them. So once they actually bring them to the US, we'll say we will receive them. We can do that. Yes. So far there's no Muslim agency that I know of, organization that I know of, that does that so far. And that's something that I'm planning to do, inshallah. So I've met with a few Muslim organizations in San Diego. I've met with a couple of imams down there, and I'm trying to get us to sit down on a table, because a lot of times we look at each other as competition. It shouldn't be that way, right? We should actually work in cohesiveness. So I'm trying to get us to meet. It's very, very difficult, to be honest with you. Working with the Muslim community is more difficult than working with anybody else. And I'm just being brutally honest, right? Actually, I have an interfaith organization down in San Diego. They are local in San Diego. They received a huge grant, $1 million, right, from other organizations to do services there in San Diego. And they heard about us and they asked us, hey, can you bring some of your services here? Let's talk. Right? So that was very easy. They came to us and they say, you do these services? Can you? Oh, okay, you do it well. Can you come over here and help us out? We say, fine, we'll work together. Muslim organizations, we know each other, we work together sometimes here and there. And I talk to them, okay, how about we all work together, put all the resources together, and actually try to help these individuals and these families without having to depend on no one else. We can provide the services if we put it together. But it's been hard to even sit down with the organizations. That's how it is.
Maybe I'll take the last question and just
okay.
Brother Mohammed will be here just to answer any questions or any concerns.
Inshallah.
If anyone wants to donate, whether money or they have clothes or a car or anything, how do they do that, and to make sure that these donations will get to the proper?
Very good. So how do you donate, whether you have cars or any kind of property or financial? Outside I have some pledge forms. If you want to do something financial, you can do that. It's outside on the table. You can go on the website icnarelief.org. You can actually donate on there as well. I have my cards outside and I have some on me. If you want to donate, for example, a car or something like that to some of these families, because like I said, they have no way of transportation, they can get around, can do anything. So if you're able to do any of that, you can contact me directly. You can call our office. You can go on the website, inshallah.
What about the clothes?
Clothes, the only problem is because we've had some issues before, we're only accepting brand new clothes. Because we've had some issues with health and stuff like that before, so we don't want to go there. Because sadly, and also again, to be brutally honest, a lot of times when we accept used clothes, people just kind of clear their closets and clear their storage and just kind of bring stuff that are unusable. We just can't, we don't have the manpower to go and sift through all of that and make sure and wash it and mend it and all that and take it. So we're taking brand new clothes. You can bring it directly to us or ask us to pick it up. Inshallah, we'll try our best to do that. But you can also ship it to our office and we'll make sure that it gets there, inshallah. Yes.
Well, I want to thank Brother Mohammed for this presentation. It is a lot of stories, heartbreaking when you really look into it and just dive deep into it. Our center, even this is one of our
struggles.
That shortcomings, that we should be a place where we can welcome these refugees at least and help them as much as we can, whether they want to learn the language or have company or comfort them or provide them with meals or just be with us. Hopefully that some members of the community can step in and take the lead on this, and we can do something to help them. Shukran, brother.
Jazakumullah khair. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Jazakumullah khair. Again, brothers and sisters, if you have any way that you can help, maybe you can bring it up, inshallah, to the attention of the message. That's another way. And inshallah, we'll work closely with the message, inshallah, so that way we can bring in the help that's needed or take the help from here and offer it somewhere else, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you for having me again. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum.